It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
We all seem to have that inner critic inside our heads. I have a committee, the itty-bitty shitty committee. You know what I mean, that nagging voice, or voices in my case, that knocks us down and drags us down the road of self-sabotage and self-neglect. A strong, positive sense of self-esteem is your first step to anything you wish to accomplish. Discover who you truly are, that gorgeous, talented, fabulous woman who deserves recognition and unconditional love. You know, the most beautiful thing any woman can wear is confidence. Here on Confidence in Bloom with the Divas That Care Network, I, Tina Spolatini, speak with women living in their own self-confidence about who they truly are, how they found themselves, and how they care for themselves. Today's guest is Patty Deloso. Patty is a mother, grandmother, and cat mama. After experiencing a life-threatening illness at the age of 60, she realized that it was time to change the direction of her life. She chose a healthier lifestyle, reconnected with her spiritual self, and started on a healing journey. She is now a Reiki master teacher and an animal Reiki practitioner. She is passionate about helping others achieve optimal health and well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. As a spiritual mentor, she provides guidance to those who are feeling disconnected from life's journey. Patty believes that we are here on this planet to be happy. So her advice is, whatever brings you joy, whatever makes your heart sing, do that. Hi, Patty. Welcome to Confidence in Bloom.
Thank you so much, Tina. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited too. There's so much I want to learn about Reiki. Not because I want to learn how to do it, but it just seems so fascinating to me. First, tell us a little bit more about Reiki and how you found it.
Well, Reiki is an energy healing modality. It is a spiritual practice, not religious in any way, not affiliated with any religion or anything like that. Very spiritual, and as a Reiki practitioner, I connect with what I call my spirit team, and that can be whoever anybody believes in, whether it's God or anybody, and I call in my angels, my guides, and I act as a channel for that healing energy, and it flows through me and into whoever I'm working on, whether it's a person or an animal, and it's always for their highest and greatest good, and it can never do any harm.
Oh, okay. So, you can't use it on like negative things. Then you can only do it to heal.
It is meant to heal. You can clear negative energy from your surroundings, from yourself. You can clear it out, but it's all part of the same process. When I begin a session with someone, I set the intention that this energy is going to flow, that it's going to take care of any issues that they have, whether they are physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, that their energy centers, their chakras are open and flowing. And when that happens, all the negativity that's within that person or that animal actually is removed and sent off into the earth.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so that means like that's because we allow it into our body, or it comes into our bodies. Not necessarily that we allow it, but it comes into our bodies, and it generally stays sort of in one area of our body. Is that right?
Well, it can go to different areas, but what happens is most of us are sensitive to the energies around us. Some people are much more sensitive. There's those that are called highly sensitive or empathic people. I'm an empath, and so as an empath, I pick up every bit of energy around me, whether it's positive or not. And before I learned Reiki, it was something that really affected me, where I was very uncomfortable in crowds, in areas where there were a lot of people. And I realized after I learned Reiki that it was because of the fact that I was picking up everything, and I didn't know how to protect myself, how I could ground myself and get myself shielded and only allow in the good, loving, positive energy. And now, having learned Reiki and all of these processes, I can now protect myself every day, whether I leave the house or not, because unfortunately energy flows everywhere. There's no boundaries. So even if you're in your own home, anything that is negative or positive will come in and can affect us. And animals, too, the same. They are extremely sensitive to energies around them. For example, I would get calls to come and work with an animal in a home, and when I would arrive, I'd realize that because the animal they were saying was anxious or stressed, and this was out of character for them. And I realized that the animal was just picking up on all the energy that was within the household from the humans. And so they are naturally empathic and pick up all of this stuff, and it affects them the same as it affects us as humans.
That's so cool. And that's why, like, they say, like, if you're sick, to have an animal near you, because it helps. It helps in the healing process, because they have that natural energy healing. Am I right?
Yes. They do, actually. And anybody who has pets will recognize that you don't have to bring them. They come to you. When I've been ill, one of my cats in particular, but both of them in general, like, they will come and lay with me. They know that I need them. And so they'll come, whether I'm in bed, they'll lay beside me, right up against me, or lay on my lap, or because they know I need that extra healing. And they just naturally provide it.
Wow, that is super cool. I remember my youngest son has asthma, and every time that he would, be unwell, our dog would be, like, at his side, and she would like cry when he would cough. Right? It was like she was letting us know that he's not well, but I'm here to look after him.
Mm-hmm. And that's why they use animals
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you hear about that, people that have, therapy dogs, whether it's for a physical condition that someone may have or emotional or mental condition, that the animals are there to support them and can sense when something's going to happen.
That's so cool. It always amazes me. So how did you find Reiki?
Well, originally, the only reason I knew about Reiki at all was that I had a massage therapist years ago who was also a Reiki master, and her massages were like heavenly because you're getting Reiki at the same time. And then after my illness, and I started to go back for a massage, and it was actually her that suggested to me, told me that I needed to learn Reiki because I had healing energy in me. And I'll just be honest, the first couple of times I just sort of shook my head and said, yeah, okay. However, when she said it the third time, I decided that maybe I should listen. And I was able to connect with the lady who became my Reiki master, and I've never looked back. The moment I walked in her home, I felt like I had come home. And it's been the most beautiful experience. I often say, I wish I'd known this decades ago, but I understand that everything happens when it's meant to happen. And so it's been, amazing. I'm so happy that I discovered this beautiful healing energy and allowing myself to help others and to teach it. That's one of the things I really enjoy teaching. And my opinion is there should be one person in every home who has learned at least the first level of Reiki, because the benefits are incredible for everybody, for the person who learns it, for their family, friends, their pets, everybody.
Wow. I know I have a cousin in Germany, and she when I met her, she was 18, And she told me that it was actually part of their school curriculum at one level to teach the first level. So everybody that she went to school with had the first level of Reiki. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't believe it. And this was like probably, we're talking maybe 5 or 6 years ago now. And I couldn't believe that when she had said that to me, because I thought, well, like I'm in the Catholic Church, I'm Catholic. They see it as wrong, right? They don't want to recognize Reiki as a healing modality. And so and she's Catholic. So when she said that to me, I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, because I'm thinking, like, I don't know what their school system is like compared to ours, but you wouldn't see that here in the Catholic system. They wouldn't allow that.
No, you're right. And not just the Catholic Church. A lot of churches have real issues with it, which is unfortunate, but everybody makes their own choices and follows their own path.
Right. And I do believe that with what's going on in the world today, that is going to change, because this is not about God. This is about our bodies, and we're all energy.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome.
And so I was raised in a... Sorry. It's okay. I was just going to say, I was raised in a very... Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, I understand the religious difficulties for people. I was raised in a very strict religious household, and if it would have been very frowned upon back then. But for me, we are all spiritual beings, so we're all connected to whoever our higher power is, our creator, and the name of whoever that is really not important. For me, it's God, but for someone else, it's different, and that's okay. But it's our connection. Right. We all have that connection.
Right, and I think too, as like the religion might be against it, but it's not really about the religion. It's about God, right, and your relationship to God. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. How would you use Reiki to boost someone's self-esteem or self-confidence?
Oh, wow. Well, Reiki has so many benefits. It's incredible. And often when I have a client who's coming in to see me because of that kind of issue, and often it's associated with, they're feeling anxious, very stressed, and a lot of that is to do with their self-esteem. It's to do with the chakras in the bodies. And for those that aren't familiar with chakras, they're the energy centers, and there are 7 main chakras: the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakra. And these energy centers are located throughout our body, and when they're open and flowing, everything is good, and all the energy is, the healing and everything within our bodies is flowing beautifully, and that's when we feel really healthy and well in all ways. When one of those is particularly blocked, and for example, with self-esteem and confidence, it would be your solar plexus, which is your power center, and it's sort of a couple of inches above your belly button. And when that is stuck or blocked, it's not allowing that energy to flow. And it's generally caused by because someone is feeling insecure, not feeling confident about themselves, don't feel in control of anything. And that's when I'll find, as I am working with someone, that particular chakra is stuck or blocked or out of balance. And it often not only affects someone like emotionally or mentally, but physically. People experience physical pain, and it's not always a physical cause. And that's what we find when I work with someone and the chakras are opened up and everything's flowing. They start to feel better, both emotionally and physically.
And so do we block these chakras? Like, do we close them up ourselves, or is it usually something that comes from outside of us?
It's an unconscious thing. It's not something we intentionally do, but life happens. Sadly,
so it's something
happen in our lives. Yes, something external generally that's happened. Either someone has told you something, you've experienced something, and a lot of these things are from childhood. People have experienced childhood traumas. They've been told things about themselves and carry that with them for their entire lives as adults. You know, they're not good enough, they're not smart enough or pretty enough or whatever that is. And they believe that and carry that with them, and it just keeps building and building. And that's what will cause a lot of the energy centers to go out of balance and get that stuck sort of thing. And as a visual, just imagine a hose, and a hose has the water flowing through it. And if you pinch that hose, that's your stuck energy. Nothing can go through properly, and you start to be out of balance. And that's sort of how it works with the chakras as well. But it's external. It's not we choose to do this. It's things around us that will bring it on.
Right. But it comes down to what our inner beliefs are about ourselves.
Yes.
Right? And then we often will prove to ourselves, oh, yeah, that's true. Because if it wasn't,
yes.
that wouldn't have happened. Right.
That's
right.
Correct.
I get
yes,
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get
yep.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel failure is necessary to be successful?
I don't really look at it as failure. I think, you know, things happen. When you're trying to, in a business, for example, when you're trying to, create a business and have it thrive and be successful, things can happen along the way where it will, things may not be going as well as you'd like. I just look at that as, okay, I've got to do something differently. So I don't really think of it as failure. I look at it as a lesson and an opportunity to do something different that can bring your success like really into fruition for you.
I love that answer. How many times do you think that you've tried and failed at achieving the same goals in the past?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. If I think about my life, it's probably so many I can't even count them all. But we all go through it. If you look back on our lives, and again, I really don't think of them as failures, but I've tried to do something and it hasn't worked out the way I wanted to, and I've learned over the last few years that there's a reason that happened. So when things aren't working out the way I wanted to or expected it to, then I realized that it wasn't meant to be that way. There's a reason for this, and it takes you
right.
in a different direction. And that's what's happened
right.
along the way with me. So, that's why I don't think of them as failures, but as just, it's it's a little guide to say, okay, let's change direction.
Yeah, exactly. And I was told in a past podcast, I always say everything happens for a reason. And the lady I was speaking with, I think her name was Linda, she said that she likes to extend that and say everything happens for an opportunity, just like you said.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It gives you an opportunity to do something different and maybe even better.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
sometimes these opportunities don't seem like an opportunity at the time. For example, when I was given my diagnosis, obviously that wasn't something I had planned and not something I was wanting. However, through that whole time as things happened, I realized that it was meant to be that way. I was meant to experience that and go through everything, and I learned so much about myself and life, and so it makes it easier for me now when things aren't flowing beautifully to understand that it's okay. It will be okay. I'll be okay. The situation will be fine. Everybody's going to be, it's just going to work out the way it's meant to be. And it makes it a lot easier to deal with uncomfortable things, the things we're not really, happy about.
And it's also like maybe, an opportunity for you to look around, right? And say, okay, so why are things different? Why is it not going the way I expected? right? And then it kind of makes you see that maybe, there's something happening around you that either one, you can change or you can have someone else change, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, really. It's just sometimes not as easy. Well, it's clear. It's not as clear to us sometimes, but yes, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. So life is not clear. I always say life is hard, right? And it's not hard as in like physically hard. It's just, our bodies talk to us, but they don't talk to us necessarily in the language that we speak.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
No.
Do you set goals for yourself every year?
No. Well, I don't. I'm not a fan of the word goals, and I it's just my personal thing. I set intentions for myself for the year of things that I want to accomplish, places I want to go, people I want to meet, whatever it is. I set it as an intention and put it out there that this is what's going to happen, and then I just sort of let it go and trust that that's what, if it's meant to be that way, it will work out. And again, it doesn't always happen. Just like, when people have right goals down, they don't always, we don't always achieve them. But with the intention, same thing. If it doesn't work out the way I had set the intention, then it wasn't meant to. And I just need to look at a different way of approaching things. But intention is a big thing for me.
Yeah, I love when in the yoga class when they say, okay, now, set your intention for the class. And I always laugh to myself because I'm like, I just want to get through the class. Right? I just want to be able to do all the poses. That's what I'm asking for.
I understand.
Right? Because what other intention can I set? Like, I don't expect, to come up with some crazy idea for the next month. I just want to get through the class. Give me some flexibility, some muscle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I understand.
What obstacles are in your way that you are reluctant to face, Patty?
Obstacles in me, really. I'm usually the biggest obstacle for myself. Sometimes we have to step out of our own way. And when I say me, I mean the old beliefs that I have, as I mentioned earlier about, things we were told as children about ourselves. We're not smart enough, or we're not good enough, or we're terrible with money, or we're, there's all kinds of things we've heard as children. Those old paradigms, and they stick with us for our entire lives until you can stop and look at it and say, wait a minute, is that really true? And so those are the obstacles I usually face. It's usually me and those old beliefs that are stuck there. The good thing, though, for me now is I find it much easier to recognize it and redirect it and say, no, that isn't true. I am good enough or smart enough, or I am, worthy of whatever I wish to receive, that kind of thing. Because that's really, other than that, nothing's in my way except me.
And I think that's the case with most of us, right?
Yes. I believe that. Yeah. I've learned the last several years, we can do whatever we want, really. We can achieve anything. And it's just being willing to be open, to do things, to try new things. And I'll tell you, the one thing I would say to people is, like I said, I was diagnosed at 60. I wasn't, I was working at a corporate job. I had no plans to do anything else until I retired. And I made that decision to leave early. I left a relationship that wasn't healthy. I made a lot of decisions then, which were the best for me. But, I was in my 60s. I wasn't a young person. And I realized it doesn't matter how old you are. Age is not a barrier. You're never too old. It's never too late to try something different, to start something new. Because as you mentioned at the beginning, we're here on this earth to be happy and enjoy ourselves. And I know it's not always that way, but we're not here to be miserable and just working ourselves to death. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree, because I find, like, if retirement only means, watching TV all day, then that doesn't seem like a very high quality of a life.
No.
Unless,
and maybe for somebody that's exactly what they want, but there's more to life than just that.
Yeah, I'm starting to, see that. Over COVID, of course, nobody could go out very much.
No.
And so we all kind of had to live like that, right? Like, and it got, it just got crazy for me. Like, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this anymore.
I know. That's true. It was not an easy time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
When a lot of people, when they're working and they feel like they never have time off, or thinking all they like is to be able to sit at home and watch TV for days and days and days. And then when you have to do it, it's not so much fun after all.
Right? How many people, I heard so many people complain, excuse me, that they didn't have anything to do. You can only clean your house for so long.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of us did, right? Take down the curtains and wash everything. And once it's done, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. Okay, I want to ask you about intuition.
Okay.
How, now everybody's going to feel their intuition differently in their body. But how do you interpret intuition and our hearts and our beliefs? How do you explain to, say, one of your clients that your intuition is telling you this?
Yeah. For me, it's a knowing. That's how I describe it. For me, my intuition is a knowing that something is needed or that something is happening. That's how I feel it in my body. I sense it as it's something I know. I don't even question it anymore, and I trust it completely. We all have intuition. I mentioned the third eye, which is the one of our chakras, which is just between the eyebrows, and that's our intuition. That's our intuitive center, and we all have it. You walk into a room and there's somebody in the room, and you're kind of either you're thinking, wow, they have so much good energy, I want to meet them, or there's something about them I don't like, those types of things, or a situation where you're supposed to do something and you think, you know what, I don't think I should do that today, and it's a good reason for it. That's our gut feeling, that gut feeling that something's not right. That's our intuition. For me, it's very strong. It's something that happens to me a lot, and sometimes it's not comfortable. But really, it is a knowing. It's not even a question of maybe. I just know this is the right thing, or it's not the right thing, or someone needs some help in a certain area of their bodies when they come to see me, and it just happens. It's hard to explain. Other than that, it's just a knowing.
Right, and so most of us are the same. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Not that we all we don't all have the same knowing, but our bodies will tell us something.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. For sure.
I know I've heard in Japan, they say if they ask a question, they rub their gut, right? And they're asking their stomach what is right for them. And when I heard that, I'm like, that's funny, because we call it a gut feeling, right?
Yeah.
When they say what do you think?
Yeah.
That's
and
that's not related to a Reiki practice.
No.
That we all have that.
Yes. It's just some are more developed than others, and some are more aware of it. But I don't know of anybody who would say they've never had that feeling when they've been in a certain situation. Never in their lives have they noticed something or felt that thing when they walk into a room, or, you know, it's just we're not always aware of what it is. We just know something's off or something's really good.
You just feel it. You just know. Yeah. I get that.
And usually, when with intuition, one of the things is, it is when we say that gut feeling. I think the reason we say that is because when we have that feeling, that's where we feel it. It's in our gut. It's not in our head or in our legs. It's in our gut. You can almost feel that sort of either tension or something, a tightness in your belly, and you're thinking, oh, that's where we tend to feel it.
Yeah, it's like, I know I've experienced, like, I feel like I was just punched in the stomach. You know, I heard something, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, it's like someone just walked by and punched me in the stomach, and I couldn't see them coming.
Yeah. And that's exactly how I felt the moment the doctor told me my diagnosis. Like someone had punched me in the stomach, that feeling.
And so you can say then that you had these feelings like before, like kind of all your life. It hasn't, not something that got stronger now.
No, it's funny because when I think back, when I was little, I was a very spiritual child. I remember, you know, you hear often about children who have their imaginary friends. They're really, they're seeing their angels because they're still in that, they're still connected spiritually. And when they come into this life, this human form. And so I felt things back then, but of course, as you go through school and with your parents, and you know, if you're a little bit different, they don't want you to be like that. So they tend to push it down, and you sort of suppress everything. But I always had that sixth sense, that knowing, that feeling about things, even before I got into learning Reiki or learning energy healing or anything like that. I always had it, and it's just gotten stronger and stronger now because I'm open now to it. I'm paying attention. That's really what it's about. When that feeling comes on, I know it.
That's so cool. I think that's like really cool. I know you suggested that everyone, or at least one person in every house, do the first level of Reiki. How many levels are there?
There's actually 3. The first degree, which is and there's with Reiki, this is sort of how a person becomes a Reiki practitioner. Is during each level there is what's called an attunement, which is sort of an initiation, and it's hard. I won't go into a lot of detail, but the Reiki master provides an attunement to the student, which enhances and elevates their energy within their bodies. And each level, Reiki level 2, the second degree. The first degree is attuning the top 4 chakras, so the crown, third eye, throat, and heart. And then the second degree is attuning the lower chakras. And then the third degree, which is the Reiki master, that's going to blend them all together and bring them together. So that's the attunement. There are 3 main levels for Reiki. And then there's all different types of Reiki. I studied Karuna Reiki, Celtic Reiki. There's different types of Reiki, but the main Usui Reiki, which is the name of it, it was discovered by Dr. Mikao Usui many, 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 many years ago. That there are 3 levels to it.
Cool. That's really cool.
And every level
and you're a master.
Yes.
Of course. Yes, of course.
Yes.
As a master teacher, then you are past these 3.
Yes.
You've taken, because not everybody can teach it. Am I right?
No, only a Reiki master can teach. You have to have completed all 3 levels to become a Reiki master, like to be able to teach it.
Right. This is so cool. See, I'm totally intrigued.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when I was going through this, And when I did the level 3, so that I could teach, at that point in my life, I wasn't planning to teach. I just wanted to have that knowledge and understanding. And the more I did, I just felt like I was growing. And so I was like a little sponge learning all this stuff. So, and then it was a couple of years later that I discovered that I really did want to teach, and I love teaching. It's amazing.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. So do you find that, like, when you're teaching, that, like, when you're doing Reiki on someone, does it, like, exhaust you? Does it drain your energy?
Actually, it does not. And the reason being, before a Reiki treatment or before teaching or before anything, I make sure that I am grounded and I am protected. I have a process, a little ritual that I go through to make sure that I am not drained of energy. It is an exchange of energy when I'm working with someone, but it's not harmful to me and not draining. Now, not to say when I teach at the end of the teaching day, I will be tired, but it's not like I'm drained. It's a nice tired. Like, this has been a great day. There's so much energy has been exchanged, and I just feel that when you have a physical tired, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a good one. It's not like, oh my God, I'm exhausted kind of tired. You just feel good.
Right. It's like you just worked. You put a day in at work.
Yeah. And it's you feel like you've accomplished something great, and now it's your time to rest and recuperate, refresh, whatever. Yeah.
That's so cool. That is so cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like I've learned a ton. I mean, there's lots of people around me that know Reiki and but I never know what to ask them because I don't really understand it. But I think today you made me understand it just a little bit better. So next time we talk, I may have more questions for you. I'm not really sure, but I'm really glad that we had this conversation. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything that you would like our listeners to know? Like, is there any little advice that you could give them, or even just like a little mantra for the day?
Oh,
go ahead.
Just like one of the things, meditation is a big thing for me, and meditation doesn't mean you have to sit in silence, for an hour. Going for a walk and just getting out in nature, do those kinds of things. But journaling, putting your thoughts down. And if you have trouble with that, start with a gratitude journal. And a gratitude journal is having a booklet where you sit down when you go to bed at night, for example, and you just write down 5 things that you're grateful for that day. And one of them could be, thank you that I woke up. I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. Thank you. I'm grateful for this bed I have to sleep in. It doesn't have to be huge, but it can actually lift your mental state, your vibration. So there's so many little things that I could tell you about that can help people. But I guess the big thing is just like believe in yourself. Be open to new things. Don't close yourself off. There are so much out in the world that can help, that can make you feel good. And I'm not just talking Reiki. And as I said, do what makes you happy. Do what makes your heart sing. Spend time in the forest if that's what you like to do. Go to the water if that's your happy place. It doesn't matter. Cuddling my kitties, that kind of thing can help me. And as I said earlier, it's never too late. You're never too old to try something different, to look at new opportunities. We're not stuck in this life. There's lots of chances to do new things.
That's beautiful advice. Thank you so much, Patty. Where can people find you?
Thank you. Well, on my website is bodyandsoulwellness.ca. I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Body and Soul Wellness with Patty. I am located in Ontario. I'm in Millbrook, Ontario. And and I'm so grateful that you've invited me to join you today. Makes me happy.
This was great. Yeah, this was really great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Confidence
My
in Bloom
pleasure.
is a celebration. Oh, that's great. Confidence in Bloom is a celebration of self-love, a confirmation that you're an amazing, desirable, brilliant, gorgeous, talented woman, even though you may not look like a screen star or a supermodel. The truth is, they don't even look like that. We offer unconditional love to our partners, our children, our extended family, even our pets. It's high time we got out of our own way and learned to unconditionally love ourselves. Chic definitely comes in every shape. So if you want something to believe in, start with yourself. If you'd like to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom and chat with me, contact me through Instagram at infobloomstyling or by email at tina@infobloomstyling.com or through the Divas That Care website.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.